What's up, guys? It's Tyler. I'm back with another movie review, and of course, I have my sidekick Jacob here to help me along with this. What?
We'll talk about this later.
Okay, so it has been quite a while since we have done a video. We both have had things going on. Big announcement. I'm actually going to be moving to Austin, Texas after this school year. So I'm going to be moving in with him.
Big announcement for me. I'm engaged now.
Yeah, we love that. He is engaged.
Yeah.
Love it. And I'm one of the groomsmen. So I'm super pumped for that.
Unfortunately.
Shut up, Jake.
I don't have a lot of friends, so.
No way. Let's continue. So this review, we're doing the Goblet of Fire. We did The Prisoner of Azkaban last time. And this is when it really starts to get dark.
Yes.
This is really where Azkaban got a little dark, but this one really gets dark.
Kristen has mentioned to me that this is one of her favorite books in this series because this is when you start to see J.K. Rowling's writing technique go from a kid's story to more of a dark story.
Yeah. So before we get started, a couple of minor differences because there's a lot of differences in this book and movie, guys, and we're not going to go through every single one because it would be a freaking 2-hour long review.
The book was 18 hours on the audio one that we listened to.
Oh, yeah, so it was long. Yeah, no. But a couple of small things. Bagman is a character in the book. He's not in the movie. Sirius is shown more in the book. He only has one scene in the movie in the fireplace. And then... Sorry, Freya's distracting me. Okay, and also Trelawney is not in the movie, but she's in the book. Hagrid teaches a class in the book. He doesn't in the movie. Amos Diggory, Cedric's dad, he's kind of a jerk in the book, but he's nice in the movie. So kind of insignificant little differences. Like it doesn't really make a huge deal. Also, there's a couple of scenes that are out of sequence in the movie from the book. So and when we get to those, we'll kind of mention, hey, this scene was out of sequence.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you doing? Okay, he just
my dog.
He just pieced out. Okay, anyways, so
jeez, dude,
you're shaking our video. What are you doing? Anyways, without further ado, continue. Dave.
So, first scene in the book, we have small differences between the first scene where Frank, the gardener, meets Lord Voldemort. Long story short, Frank has been the lifelong or a long-time gardener for the Tom Riddles, or the book opens up to where the Riddle family gets murdered and everyone is accusing Frank because he's a grouchy old person. His name gets ended clear, and then fast forward to modern times where Frank is chilling in his place on the property of the Riddles, and he sees something going along in the Riddle house. So, like any good gardener or any good caretaker of the house, he goes to check it out because he thinks some darn kids are good. Anyways. So
kids get off my lawn.
Exactly. So in the another difference between the book and the movie is that you see in the movie there is Voldemort, Wormtail, and Barty Crouch Jr., while in the book there's only Voldemort and Wormtail, and they do talk about trying to how are we going to plan to bring back Voldemort back to life, in the book. Wormtail's trying to think of other ways instead of having Harry Potter where Voldemort's like, no, only him. While in the movie, the dialogue is much longer in the book, but the dialogue is much shorter because, you have to condense stuff down. You see Barty Crouch say, let me do it. Then things come back together in line where Nagini, the gigantic long python, who's also Voldemort's pet, comes down there and says, hey, we got a muggle outside the door, let's do something about it. And Voldemort says, boom, let's kill him. I am skipping a little bit, let me fast forward. In the book, Frank is confrontational of Voldemort, saying, I'll call the cops, my wife and everything's here. Voldemort calls him out on his BS and kills him. And you see in the movie, Frank is not as confrontational. He backs up saying, I don't want a part of this, and Voldemort still kills him. So, bam.
Okay, and then we fast forward to Harry being at the Weasleys, but before that, in the book, he's actually at the Dursleys, which we are not complaining that they're not in the movie because we hate them.
Exactly.
So in the book, the Weasleys send a letter asking the Dursleys if they can pick up Harry to bring him to the Quidditch tournament, and keep him for the rest of the summer. At first, the Dursleys are hesitant and question, but ultimately they decide to let Harry go with them because Harry kind of threatens them because he likes to mention that his godfather's a criminal, and so he uses that against them. So ultimately, they're like, you know what, go ahead and go. Um, and the Weasleys show up. Mr. Weasley enters the house by exploding the fireplace, which is a very flashy entrance. And Vernon, this is the one time that I will admit that Vernon had a right to be upset because that kind of destroyed the house. So
yeah, he blew it up.
Yeah, he blew it up. And then one of the big disappointments in the movie is that we didn't get to see a lot of Fred and George's pranks.
We don't see any of the pranks.
Yeah, none of the pranks. And one of them that we're going to mention that happens in this scene in the book is they give Dudley a toffee, which makes his tongue grow like
4 feet long.
4 feet long.
Yeah.
And of course, the Dursleys freak out, and then they leave.
Yep.
So now, flash forward, longer scenes in the book, but in the movie, we see Harry wake up. He's having a dream about the whole Frank and Voldemort thing, and Scar's hurting. Which in this movie, his scar hurting is going to be a theme because his scar starts to hurt when he thinks of Voldemort. Voldemort's getting stronger, like that makes his scar hurt. So that's going to be a running theme. He constantly sends owls to Sirius and Dumbledore about it, telling them about it. So anyway, so they get ready to go to the Quidditch tournament. While on the way to the tournament, they meet up with Amos Diggory and Cedric Diggory, which loves Cedric Diggory. He's a great character. He's in my house, Hufflepuff, so yay, Hufflepuff. So they get to the tournament. Shut up, Jacob. So they get to the tournament, and it's against the Irish and the Bulgarians, and Victor Crumb is on the Bulgarian team. Crumb. Anyways, so the Irish end up winning, but Ron is like fangirling over Crumb.
Oh, yeah.
Like he wants his autograph, whatever. So they're, celebrating the tournament. And in the book, they actually show more of the game. And in the movie, they don't really get to show much of the game. But anyway, well, then there starts to be all kinds of screaming outside the tent. Mr. Weasley tells them, we got to get out of here. And it turns out the camp is getting attacked by Death Eaters.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt. A small difference, and I'll let him get back to it. You don't see Bill Weasley or Charlie Weasley at all in the movie when they're a big part in the first couple scenes of the book.
Yeah. Right, okay. Sorry, I forgot that. Anyways, so they're attacking, and everyone runs everywhere, and then at the end of all that, a dark mark gets conjured into the sky, and no one knows who did it. Now, in the movie, Harry sees someone doing it. It's not shown clearly who it is, but in the book, I don't think he sees anyone doing it. It just happens. But in the book, this is one of the characters that's not included in the movie. We meet a house elf, Winky, who is Barty Crouch's, who works for the Ministry of Magic. It's his house elf, and she found Harry's wand after he dropped it. Basically, she gets accused of conjuring the Dark Mark by Amos Diggory and the Bagman, and Fudge accuses it, and Barty Crouch is like, don't accuse my house elf without evidence. He actually ends up dismissing Winky because she disobeyed him. Yeah. At that point, it's because she disobeyed him. And this is actually a really huge thing that's left out in the movie. This is the first time where Hermione starts to talk about how she thinks house elves are mistreated, they're treated like slaves, and she wants to free them. And it continues on in other books. And I can see where Hermione's coming from, but also the house elves are kind of telling her, well, we don't want to be free. We're perfectly happy being house elves. Yeah. Dobby is the only one that is like, he wanted to be free. Also, Dobby is in this movie. I'm sorry, he's in the book, not the movie. In the movies, in the movies he doesn't show back up until Deathly Hallows. In the book, he's shown. So that's the Quidditch and the attack, and yeah.
So from there, we see the attack and everything like that, and then it goes into the intro or back into Hogwarts. And in the book, it goes through briefly, who makes it do what. You see other small characters that don't play a significance in this, but it's just how J.K. Rowling likes to connect the story and how everything intertwines, which is why she's such a wonderful author. Anyways, so you fast forward, and everyone has been talking about this really crazy event that no one knows in the book, like what's going on. So, because the Quidditch season gets canceled, and everyone's like, "Oh, what? This is BS. What's going on?" Everyone loves Quidditch. Who doesn't? It's like our football for them.
Right.
Anyways, but they're like, well, then Dumbledore, or as the future character likes to call her, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
The mentions we have another thing coming on, and it's been canceled for many years, but now with the guidance and talking, and after years of negotiations, we're bringing back the Triwizard Tournament. Dun dun dun, the Goblet of Fire. Anyways, basically he explains that the Triwizard Tournament brings all the other European schools. I can't remember where they're from. Do you remember?
Well, quick interjection.
Yeah.
We also get introduced to Alastor Moody in this scene in the movie. This is where he comes in.
Oh yeah, okay.
Alastor Moody comes in here.
So Alastor Moody is he hunts down, or an ex-or. He hunts down dark wizards and witches and brings them to justice. And in the story, in the movie and in the book, it says that he's probably responsible for over half the people in prison of Azkaban. So we get introduced to him. Mad-Eye Moody. He's got a weird eye thing going on. Anyways, so back to what I was talking about. The other schools are introduced. I can't remember where they're from.
Okay, so the Beauxbatons. They have French accents, so I don't know where they're from. The Bulgarians, which they're from. They're from other countries. They're from other areas.
One seems like he's from Eastern Europe, and the other one seems like they're French speaking. Anyways, not really important. But other schools, they all come together at Hogwarts to compete for the Triwizard Tournament. Each school has a champion. So there's only supposed to be 3 champions, all right? Rules and regulations got updated to now, since it's such a dangerous thing, that that you have to be at least 17 years old to enter. Mm-hmm. You can't be younger to enter. Anyways, so the things fast forward, you get introduced to the Victor Crumb School, and then you get introduced to who's the silver?
Fleur de la Cour.
Fleur de la Cour school. One all boys, one all girls. All right. Mm-hmm. The girls will come in, they're looking all magnificent and whatever looking. And all you see all the guys at Harry or Hogwarts fawning, drooling over there. And when you see all the girls, you're like, yeah. Anyways, then you see the Victor Crumbs guys come in, and they're all boom, boom, big tough guys and everything like that. And they blow out a gigantic fire-breathing dragon from one of the wands and stuff like that. Looks pretty cool, showing they're tough Russians or whatever. You get introduced to Madame Maxime, who is the head of the of Fleur de la Cour school, and then you get you introduced to what's the dude's name?
Cockerel. Let's just call him Cockerel.
Yeah, we're gonna butcher the name. Icky. Yeah, sure.
He's an icky character.
Anyways, so he is introduced as Victor Crumb's headmaster, and he was also the Ministry of Magic of that area in the book. Was he?
I thought that was a different character in the book. I thought that was a different character.
Anyway, that's regardless of the point. Yeah. So we are then fast forward into both the in the movie, there's starts to see the love interest between our good old pal Hagrid and also Madame Maxime. Yeah. And you see the two of them are eyeing each other, staring each other down and everything while they're having the feast. And Hagrid is Hagrid's listening to Madame Maxime, and Madame Maxime is telling them how, her horses drink only the finest malt whiskey. And he's nodding his head yes. And when he does, this is a funny scene, he stabs the dwarf Professor Flitwick. He stabs Professor Flitwick in the hand with the fork. Yep. And sorry, Tyler's friend, but I'm gonna have to quote the movie, so it's not my fault. Flitwick looks at him and goes, "You damn fool!" And you see Hagrid still kind of like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Anyways,
he said it. I did.
Yeah, I did. I'll take responsibility. So. Fast forward a little bit more, and we see in the book and in the movie, the Fred and George tried to trick or try to get past the rule that Dumbledore made, and Hermione's like, it's not going to work. And they look at her and say, it's going to work because of how dumb the idea is that Dumbledore would never have thought about it. So they put their name in the fire because they put in an aging potion to age them 3 months because they're 16, not 17, and they'll be turning 17 in 3 months. Excuse me. They put their name in the Goblet of Fire. The thing goes crazy, shoots back at them, and they get aged to be like 80 years old. They got long gray hair and everything like that, and they're just blah. And next thing you know, you see them fighting each other.
They're idiots.
Yeah.
I love them.
Fast forward a little bit more to where the announcements of who the champions are. So for the Bulgarians or the other school, I apologize that we can't remember the names right now. You have Victor Crumb, who's the champion, and then you have Fleur Delacour, who's the champion for Madame Maxine's school, and then you have Cedric Diggory, who's named champion for Hogwarts school. Everyone's celebrating like, yay, let the tournaments commence, and then one more pops up, and lo and behold, Harry Potter gets entered into the tournament. And mind you, Harry Potter is 14 at this time, so everyone is now jealous of him, and they are mad at him. And we see a significant difference between how Dumbledore acts in the book and how the actor for Dumbledore in the movie acts. Where Dumbledore is very calm, reserved, and he questions Harry and says, how the heck did this happen? Well, in the movie, Dumbledore, like, flips out and is like, what did you do? What did you do? Please tell me you didn't do it. Blah, blah, blah.
You put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
Exactly. And so everyone starts to be mad at Harry because they think that he's taken the glory from him. And then this starts our both agreement on our dislike towards Ron for a little bit because Ron,
I think a little bitch. Sorry,
exactly. He was little wham. Okay. Yeah.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, quick little thing to mention. In between all that, Moody teaches the kids about the unforgivable curses. That's what we learned about them.
Yes.
There's 3 of them. And so they're called unforgivable because using these curses can give you a one-way ticket to Azkaban.
Correct.
There's the Imperious Curse, which you can control someone, which a lot of people, when Voldemort was in power, tried to claim that they were under that when they were following him. But as Moody points out, how do we know who is telling the truth and who's lying about it?
Correct. Yeah.
Second curse is the Cruciatus Curse, which is the torture curse. Which we
find out that Neville Longbottom's family was under.
By Bella Lestrange.
Yes.
And also Barty Crouch Jr. did it too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, they tag teamed.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, they did.
And then the Killing Curse, which is Avada Kedavra, which Moody points out that Harry is the only known survivor of that curse.
Yes.
Because Voldemort tried to use it on him, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a quick scene where through a chain of messages, basically, they tell Harry that Hagrid is looking for him. And he goes to meet Hagrid with his invisibility cloak. Hagrid's walking through the forest, and Hagrid's dressed up really nicely. And it turns out he's meeting Madame Maxine. And they're kind of flirting still. Actually, one of the issues that pops up in the book, not the movie, is that Hagrid asks her if she's a giant, and she gets offended by that.
Yeah, evidently giants are in hiding, and there used to be terrible monsters and everything. So,
and in the same scene, Hagrid shows Harry dragons, which turns out to be the first task that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to get the egg from the dragon. The dragon's going to be protecting, and each champion gets a different dragon. I don't know the names of all the dragons that they.
No, I can't remember.
No, we don't have to get into that. But anyway, so fast forward, we go to the first task, and before the first task is where we first meet Rita Skeeter, who is
Sorry, Tyler's friend. A bitch.
A bitch. Like, oh, I'm sorry, but she's so annoying. She's obnoxious. Like, she's like the paparazzi. She tries to find all the scandal and everything, and She tries to say that Hermione and Harry are in love, which in the book, Crumb kind
She's
of...
fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Stop it. Which Crumb kind of confronts Harry in the book. Is like, what's going on between you and Hermione? He's like, nothing. And he's like, okay, cool. But anyway, so after all of that, we get introduced to Skeeter. They go to the first task, and Harry starts out with just his wand, but then he uses his wand to say Accio Firebolt, which is calling his broom.
Yes.
Broom comes, he flies all around, gets the dragon to fly after him, and basically...
We do, just a quick mention, he gets the Hungarian Horntail, which is like the baddest out of the four dragons.
So anyway, he flies, and the dragon flies after him, and he gets under a bridge, and the dragon tries to go through the bridge to get to him, but then the dragon ends up falling, and Harry defeats the dragon, and everyone cheers. And they go back into the common room, and he has the egg and has the clue in it, and he's asking, who wants me to open it? Who wants me to open it? And he opens the egg and starts screeching, and then Ron and Harry make up, and Hermione's exasperated. She's like, boys. Oh, also before all that, so I forgot to mention, there's a humorous scene that's out of sequence. It's out of sequence in the book. Also, the dragon scene is out of sequence.
Yeah.
This one's out of sequence too. So. And there's also two different things, but basically Malfoy is taunting Harry, and Harry, taunts back at him. And while Harry's back is turned, Malfoy tries to curse Harry, but then Moody, oh no you don't, sucky, and then turns Malfoy into a ferret, and it starts flinging Malfoy in the air like this. And I know how mad that looks. Anyways, so, and then McGonagall comes up. He's like, Professor Moody, what are you doing? Teaching. Is that a student? Technically, it's a ferret. And then, that whole scene, and then she turns Malfoy back into the human. Malfoy threatens Moody to tell his father on him. And then, basically McGonagall fusses at Moody saying that transfiguration is not used for punishment. And he'll do well to remember that Dumbledore said that. So, but yeah, so that's a funny scene, and then the first we get the first task, and then we're on to the second task.
So going to the second task, Ron and like we mentioned, Ron and Harry have made up, and they are trying to prepare for how the second task is going to work. We then get mentioned that there is a ballroom dance that is going on. And like myself as a sad teenager, Harry Potter asked a whole bunch of girls to the dance, and they all say no because they already have other plans. And he asked his crush, Cho.
Mm-hmm.
And Cho, I understand you got the eyes of Cedric and you got the eyes of Harry Potter, and so you like both, but man, you confusing, girl. That's all I gotta say. Anyways.
Oh, and don't forget. Bubbling baboon.
Oh, yeah.
I love that line.
Yeah, that was what McGonagall said when they were trying to prepare for, when she's trying to teach him how to dance and everything. So, we fast forward, and another out of sequence thing.
Uh-huh.
The dance happens in the movie before the second task.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the movie or in the book, the second task happens before the movie. So not a huge difference, but anyways, we'll go the movie route briefly. So sorry, my dogs are acting a fool over there. So ballroom dance is happening. Ron and Harry are struggling finding a date. Ron fatally, not literally, but just completely fails on asking Fleur Delacour to the dance, and he flips out and runs away. And you see Harry has asked a couple people, and they all have said no already.
And he insults Hermione, by the way.
Oh, yeah, and Ron completely insults Hermione, saying, well, no one's going to ask you and everything like that, blah, 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 blah. When, lo and behold, Victor Crumb asked Hermione.
And I said yes.
And she said yes. So, bump, bump. Anyways, that was a little weird.
Anyway, go ahead.
So Ron and Harry ended up going out with they're called the Patels?
Yes.
The Patel twins. And this is so mean, but in the books, she kind of makes them out to be like ugly, or like not ugly, but like kind of weird, not attractive. Yeah. In the movie, they're very beautiful girls. They're great. Yeah, Kristen, I love you. Don't worry. That was weird. Anyways,
he's already.
Anyways, so they're very pretty girls. Harry and Ron are terrible dates. And they're not treating these girls with any respect, not taking them to have any fun or anything like that. They're not like, they treat them in a respectful manner, but they don't make the date and the ball fun. So those two girls end up getting swept off the feet by some of the Bulgarian boys. Men, don't do that to your dates when you go to the ball.
Yeah, don't. Anyway, please don't do that.
Terrible.
Like, don't leave them out.
Learn from Harry and Ron. So then, going into the movie sequence, Hermione runs off because Ron is so
such
a jerk about how she went on a date with Victor Crumb, who is the enemy, and how he's probably trying to use her and all that stuff to.
But he's bringing people that wanted his autograph, just saying.
Exactly, yeah. So Hermione tells him to go to bed. You two are awful people. You've ruined the party, or you've ruined everything. We also see that Hermione's starting to like Ron.
Right, because she literally says, next time ask me out and not as a last resort.
Exactly, yeah. That a girl, Hermione. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anyways, so we fast forward, and we see in the movie that Harry and Hermione are talking to each other, and Hermione is scolding Harry because he doesn't know what's the second clue yet for the second task. They're talking on the bridge, and Cedric calls Harry, and Harry tries to walk off, and Cedric's like, hey, like, you helped me out with the dragons. I really appreciate that, so I'm going to help you out. You know, go take a hot bath and bring your egg and ponder on life for a little bit. That's a little weird. Anyways, so they go. So Harry goes to the bathroom, and I'm just letting you know that bath looks amazing.
It's fantastic,
and I want to take a bath in that.
And even in the book, Harry was like, "I want to use this."
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So the movie people did a fantastic job of making that bath scene come true. Anyways, Harry has the egg. And he opens it again, and there's a loud screeching noise. Oh my gosh, ears out. Well, then, lo and behold, Moaning Myrtle comes around, and I'm letting you know, Moaning Myrtle's a cougar.
She's a creepy cougar.
She's weird, cougar. Yes. Creepy so, Moaning Myrtle then tells, hey, Cedric opened the egg underwater. Harry takes it, he opens underwater, and exactly, and you see Moaning Myrtle kind of and all that stuff. That was weird. So he figures out that I gotta go to the lake and I gotta save what's been stolen from me, something that I care deeply about. Well, then fast forward to the second task. Okay, they go to the thing, and the difference in the book and the movie is that Dobby, who is not in the movie at all, gives Harry the gillyweed to help him breathe underwater, when in the movie it was Neville Longbottom. Yeah. So he starts swimming. He can't find Harry or Ron and Hermione because they're not at it. He's kind of concerned. He's like, where are they at? Well, he goes underwater and starts swimming. He takes the gillyweed and he starts breathing. He's doing fantastic, and he's the first one to get to his destination, where he sees 4 people who are trapped underwater, who are guarded by the mermen. He sees Ron, and so he tries to go get Ron. Well, then he sees Hermione, and he tries to go get Hermione, when all of a sudden the mermaid people come over there, put a trident to his throat and tell him, you're only supposed to take one. In the movie, the dialogue between the mermen and Harry is much shorter than in the book. Anyways, Cedric comes and he saves Cho, and then Crumb comes and he saves Hermione, which leaves only Ron and Fleur Delacour's little sister.
Yeah.
And Fleur Delacour is nowhere to be found because in the book and in the movie, you see that she gets taken out by the Grindylows beforehand. So she gets knocked out. So Harry does the moral thing and saves both Ron and Fleur Delacour's little sister. And he goes up and he's trying to carry them up, but as he's trying to carry them up, and I think this is a difference in the movie. Was he losing his power in the book?
I think he makes it to the surface in the book.
Yeah.
He doesn't get dragged down. In the movie, he gets dragged down by the Grindylows.
Yeah, he makes it to the surface in the book. In the movie,
he's starting to lose his power.
Exactly. He gets dragged down by the Grindylows. He says, Ascensio, and he shoots up out of the water, and boom, he gets saved. After there's a discussion between the judges and Dumbledore, that's annoying, I'll stop. Dumbledore talks to the leader of the mermen. He finds out that Harry actually got there first, and he would have gotten first place, but he decided to stay back and save 2 people, which ties him up to second place, or he gets second instead of last or third.
Which ties him with Diggory.
Which ties him to first with Diggory.
Yeah.
So the order of the current place points goes is that Harry and Cedric are tied for first. Then you have Victor Crumb, who is second or third. And then you have Fleur Delacour, who's last.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So there's also just to briefly mention.
Crouch loses it. So briefly, in the movie, you see Crouch talk to Harry at the end of the second task, and he's talking, and then Moody pops up, and Moody gives him a little wow, type thing, which you see Crouch kind of like, oh my goodness, crazy.
And Crumb's also in that scene in the book. Crumb's also there
when Crouch loses it.
Yes.
Yeah. So for condensing reasons, I believe they see later on that Crouch gets murdered. But they don't know by who. In the book, you see Victor Crumb and Harry talking, and this is where Victor Crumb asks him, hey, what's going on between you and Hermione, And next thing you know, they see Crouch coming out, he's talking all this babble stuff. And Harry runs to go get Dumbledore, and then Crouch is gone, and Victor Crumb got hit with a stupefy thing, and that's it.
Okay, so... And one thing to know, Ron told Harry that Dumbledore would not have let the sister drown, so he didn't have to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, all right, so there's also a big scene where Harry gets, I don't know what it's called, but it's a memory thing that Dumbledore has. I don't remember what it's called.
I can't, yeah.
But anyway, he gets sucked in there, and he is in a memory of a trial that's going on way back in the day where they're questioning people about being Death Eaters and, Lord Voldemort's followers. And Icky is on trial, and they're questioning him about it because he was a Death Eater, and he's telling them all kinds of names of Death Eaters, and they're saying, well, this person's already been caught, this other person's already been killed, we've already apprehended this person. He brings up Snape, and both in the book and the movie they say, well, Snape's been cleared of that. He was a Death Eater, but he is now on our side, so he's already been cleared.
He was used to be a spy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, stop looking at my sock. It's weird. Anyways,
dogs.
Freya, not. Anyways, so slight difference in this one. So Icky actually brings up Barty Crouch Jr.'s name, which in the book, Barty Crouch Jr.'s son was already on trial, and his dad already knew that he was accused of that. And there was a whole scene where his son was begging him not to send him to Azkaban, but his dad refused to send him anyway. In the movie, Icky just says his name, and his dad is completely shocked. And Barty Crouch Jr. doesn't beg not to go to Azkaban. He just owns it, and he just goes, the tongue.
Hello, father.
Hello, father. The tongue.
We're not weird, we promise.
We're not weird, we promise.
We're acting what the movie guy does.
Harry gets out of that memory thing, and Dumbledore tells him, curiosity is not a sin, but we should also learn to control it. Because, we don't always know where that's going to lead.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get to the third task. And the third task is a big maze in the Quidditch field. And there's a slight difference in the book and the movie with this scene, too. So basically, Harry and Diggory go first into the maze because they have the highest scores, and Crumb goes second, and Fleur goes third. And they also say that if a contestant wants to get out, they just gotta shoot up a pink spark in the sky, and they'll be taken out of the task. So anyway, so they're in the maze, and they see a pink spark in the sky, and I've already seen Crumb and Diggory, so they assume Fleur shot it up, and Fleur gets taken out. In the movie, though, she gets sucked in by the
vines.
The vines, yeah. So in the book, Harry comes across this Sphinx. This woman, half, what is it? Lion, yeah. And she gives them a riddle to solve. And I don't remember quite what the riddle said, but basically the answer was a spider, which I'm glad they didn't show this in the movie because spiders terrify me. I have arachnophobia. Anyway, well, Harry and Diggory actually helps Harry fight off the spider. And then they both fight off Crumb because Crumb gets bewitched by the maze and tries to do the Crucio curse to Diggory. And so Harry saves Diggory from Crumb, and then Diggory saves Harry from the spider. But in the movie, it's kind of reversed. Like Diggory saves Harry from Crumb. But anyway, so fast forward, they come to the end of the maze, and they see the Jacob got a brief little interlude. Do you want to keep going?
I'll be right back. Yeah, go.
Okay. So, anyways, on myself now. Anyway, so they see the Triwizard Cup at the end of the maze, and basically Cedric and Harry go back and forth on who should take it because they both say, "Well, you help me out. Will you help me out?" and this and that, and they both want the other one to take it. Well, in the end, they decide that they're going to take it together. They're going to go and both put hands on it. So they put their hands on it, and they get teleported because it's a port key. And then what a port key is, when a character grabs hold of it, it transports them to another location. And the location is predetermined. So the port key takes them to a graveyard. And the graveyard, they get up, and there's a few differences, but I'm just going to go on with the movie sequence because it's basically the same.
Yeah.
So they get to the graveyard, they're walking around, and Harry's like, well, I've been here before. Like, this looks familiar. Then he sees a tombstone with Tom Riddle's name on it. And his scar starts to hurt again. And there's the cauldron, and it lights on fire, and he's like, Cedric, let's get out of here. We got to get back to the Cubs. What are you talking about? And then Wormtail, aka Peter Pettigrew, walks out of the house holding a Voldemort in baby form. I guess it's really weird.
Yeah.
And Cedric says, "Who are you? What do you want?" And Voldemort goes, "Kill the spare." And Wormtail says Avada Kedavra and kills off Cedric, which, rest in peace, Cedric. Love Cedric. That was a sad death. But anyway, kills off Cedric. He ties Harry to the tombstone, and then he throws Voldemort into the cauldron, and then puts, he says, bone of the father unknowingly taken, flesh of the servant willingly sacrificed, blood of the enemy forcibly taken.
Yeah.
And the Dark Lord will rise again. And so through all of that, Harry, of course, his scar's hurting this entire time. He's screaming. It's painful for him. And then Voldemort returns.
Yeah.
And
he gets the blood from Harry, and he actually cuts him pinned up. Yeah.
So Voldemort returns. And slight difference in the book, Voldemort kind of goes in through the whole history of his dad and everything. His plan and everything, yeah. But in the movie, he just kind of walks around, puts the dark mark on Wormtail's arm, like he summons his Death Eaters, and the Death Eaters show up, and then he gives Wormtail his arm back, and he expresses his disappointment in them because they have not come looking for him this whole time. And Lucius Malfoy, who I already knew was a Death Eater, whatever, I don't like him. But anyway, he tries to say that he didn't see any signs of Voldemort returning, and Voldemort says, well, there's been signs all around, my slippery friend, and they kind of have a little back and forth thing. And then Voldemort, remembers that Harry's right there and starts talking to Harry about the fact that what happened that night, that he couldn't curse Harry because his mother provided the ultimate protection by sacrificing herself for Harry. And old magic, he couldn't touch Harry, but now he can touch Harry. And he touches actually his scar. That really that's painful as fuck. Sorry. Damn it, that didn't play that. That's another one. Anyway, we did get a swear jar from our views. We got a swear jar. Elizabeth, send us a swear jar. But anyway, so basically, Voldemort tells Harry they need a duel. And he forces Harry to bow to him and then starts using the Cruciatus curse on him. And then says he's going to kill him. Harry tries to run away. Voldemort says, no, I want to see the light leave your eyes when I kill you. And then, so at the same time, Harry says Expelliarmus, Voldemort says Avada Kedavra, and their wands connect. Like, there's a weird connection. Like, their powers are connected. And the spirit starts to show up. And Cedric's spirit shows up. Frank's spirit shows up. Both of Harry's parents and Harry's dad and mom are telling him, you know, when there you get a chance, let go of the connection. We'll distract Voldemort. We'll hold him off. You get to the Porky and get out of here. And, you know, his mom says, okay, sweetie, let go. And then he lets go. The spirits all run towards Voldemort or float at him, whatever. And then Cedric tells Harry to bring his body back. So Harry runs to Cedric's body, says Accio to the Porky, the Triwizard Cup, and they transport it back to the Hogwarts grounds. And they get back, and at first everyone's cheering and excited because they're back, but then everyone realizes that Cedric Diggory is dead. And that's when Harry tells Dumbledore and all of them that he's back, like Voldemort is back. And they're all crowding around. There's this really heartbreaking scene where Cedric's dad sees him lying on the ground dead. And and the actor does such a great job portraying the heartbreak because it almost makes me want to cry. Mm-hmm. And I think Jacob said the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So, and then Moody leaves Harry away, and then you can pick up on this part.
So, Moody leads Harry away, and we see Moody is trying to. It looks like Moody. We initially think that Moody is trying to comfort Harry and trying to get an idea of what just happened. But then you see Moody starting to ask really weird and concerning questions. What was the Dark Lord like? What was it like being under his presence? Did the others, were there others there? And he was like, did he mention me? Blah, 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 blah. And you start to see what's going on, but also at the same time, you start to see Moody's face contorting. He's acting very weird and what's going on and everything. Then you find out that Moody is the one who put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire. That Moody is the one who brought back the Dark Lord, and he wants all of the glory and everything. Yeah. And Harry's going like, "What are you talking about? You know, you put all these people in prison." Like, asking him like, "What are you doing?" Blah 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 blah. Well, and all of a sudden, the doors burst open, and you see Dumbledore, Snape, and McGonagall all there, and they tackle Moody, and they make him drink the potion that tells the truth. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it turns out that Moody has been stealing ingredients for Polyjuice Potion that has been in Snape's personal thing, which we didn't mention briefly. I'm going to go back a few. In the book, there's a scene where Snape is walking. Snape is in his personal office, and things are getting stolen by people, and he doesn't know what he has. Harry is under his invisible cloak, and he has a Marauders map, and he sees Barty Crouch Jr. Or Barty Crouch. It just says, Barty Crouch. So things are going crazy. Harry in the movie, Snape accuses Harry of stealing stuff, and because that's just who he is. And it turns out, fast forward back now to what we're talking about, Moody's the one who's been stealing the stuff, and he's been making Polyjuice Potion, and it turns out that Moody is not Moody at all. Mm-hmm. Moody is Barnabas Crouch Jr., who we talked about, that has been, who is a Death Eater. Yep. And big difference in the book is that or Barnabas Crouch Jr., I'm going to start calling him just Jr. Jr. talks about how he'd had this elaborate plan of what he's been doing this entire time and how he escaped Azkaban. And also we get mentioned about Winky and how he escaped to go see the Quidditch match that we talked about earlier, and that Winky was the one who was supposed to keep him under watch. He ended up losing control, or Winky ended up losing control, and Junior was the one who sent up the big dark mark, Voldemort, if I remember what it's being called. And he's the reason why Winky is no longer under the Crouch family.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing happens, and another difference in the book and in the movie is that Sirius Black is there, and Sirius shows up, and he's listening to the whole story, and he transforms back into his normal form. And Snape gets mad because we know that there's bad blood between Snape and Sirius.
Well, that happens in the hospital wing in the book. That's after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for reminding me of that. Anyways,
sorry.
Sorry. So we find out where Moody is. Moody's in this. The real Moody is actually in this gigantic trunk, and we find out that he's been kidnapped, and they bring him back. And now we fast forward to the hospital wing, where Harry is under the care of Madame Pomfrey, and they're just talking about what happens, and then all of a sudden, Fudge comes. And Fudge has a Dementor following him in the actual book. Yeah. And the Dementor is in the please dog sorry in the book. I've already had one computer destroyed because that's happened, so I'm not doing that again. In the book, the Dementor is following Fudge, and Barty Crouch Jr. ends up being, I'll just say killed. It's not technically killed, but it gets the fatal kiss from the Dementor, and that's how Barty Crouch Jr. is taken away. Yeah. In the movie, you never see what happens to Barty Crouch, but to Junior. But anyways, so back to the hospital scene. Fudge is there. He's got his Dementor, and there consumes a big argument between Fudge and Dumbledore, where Fudge is starting to call Harry Potter a huge liar because he wanted to be the story's always been about him, and he's trying to do it because he wants to keep the Voldemort situation on a down low. Yep. He doesn't want people flipping out because he's been gone for 13 years. They want to make sure that he still stays gone, which is not the case. Dumbledore says, you're ridiculous. You should tell people about this. If you think I'm not on your side because I'm not, that I want to mention it, then you're wrong. I am on the side. We are on the same side because we don't want Voldemort coming back. In the book, you see Professor McGonagall, who is normally very calm, lose her cool with Fudge and says, you are a cheeky little bastard, blah, 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 blah. Not the exact words, but still. You fool. Yeah. And even Dumbledore and Snape and everyone is caught off guard by her losing her cool. And Harry's even caught off guard. He's like, wow, I was not expecting that.
And even Snape kind of says, Fudge, look at the mark.
Exactly. Yeah. And Snape pulls up his thing and he shows that I've been, this is what's been going on. The mark's back. It only pops up whenever he comes back.
The evidence is all there. Just Fudge chooses to ignore it.
Exactly. Yes. So then then fast forward a little bit more. We talked about what I mentioned earlier. Snape is in the hospital, or not Snape. Sirius Black comes back in the hospital when he gets the dark and he transforms into human. Snape gets mad and Dumbledore says, "You two cool it. You two will be on the same side for as long as the situation is going on. I know you have bad blood, but I need both of you on my side right now." Yeah. And they reluctantly shake hands. Yeah. So that's pretty much the end of that for my thing. Yeah.
And then after that, Dumbledore gives a heartwarming speech about Cedric and his death, and he tells the students Cedric Diggory was a hard worker, a fierce friend, And then he says, the ministry does not want me to tell you guys, but you guys deserve to know how he died. And it was of Lord Voldemort's hands. Then he said it would be an insult to his memory to not tell you how he died, which I love that. Love that. So there's that whole thing. Everyone's sad. Then after that, the Bobatons and the Bulgarians go back to their own schools. They leave, and then Hermione, tells Harry and Ron, please write to me. And then her, of course, Ron's like, I'm not going to. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll write every week, like sarcastically.
Yeah.
And then it kind of ends there.
Yeah.
So opinions.
So in my opinion, this is the best book so far.
Yeah.
This is the worst movie so far.
Okay, so here's the thing. I will say, so far, this one and Azkaban, book-wise, are my top two.
Yeah.
I slightly prefer Azkaban, just because I've always had a preference for it, but Goblet of Fire is very close to it, like very right underneath it.
Yeah, I prefer Goblet of Fire. Prison of Azkaban is my favorite movie so far out of all of them. But the book, this is the best book so far, just because you can see her J.K. Rowling's writing talent and how she's able to transfer from a kid's story to a dark story.
I know. I like the
but like we also know that the movie had to cut out so much because the book is so long,
and that's why the Goblet of Fire, the movie version, is just kind of. I mean, it's still a good movie.
It's good,
but it's just. There was some stuff that they could have left in there.
Oh yeah.
Like I was telling him before we did this, because in the fifth movie, all of a sudden you see Sirius and Snape on the Order together, but you don't see them in the Goblet of Fire, so it doesn't make sense. Well, they should have put in the movie how they got that handshake, because then it would make sense when you see in the movie that they're suddenly on the same side again.
Or just briefly even mentioning how the boys are doing the prank stuff,
briefly mention that.
Because then you go into the next 2 movies later on, and next thing you know, they're running their own joke store, and you're like, well, where did this come from?
And Winky could have been introduced too. Winky in there.
There's could have been a lot of stuff.
Winky was obnoxious.
Oh yeah.
God, I didn't like it. Percy's not in the movie. I'm not complaining about that because I don't like Percy's a pompous little
prick.
Now he does get redemption at the end of the series. I mean, he does get redemption. However, he actually breaks down and apologizes. I think at the end of the series, but at this point, he's still a pompous little shit. Okay.
Sorry,
Elizabeth. We're again. All right. So our theme question for this one is: we talked about the three tasks: the dragons, the mermaids, and the maids. So what we want to know from you guys, and we'll say ours: which task would have made you the most nervous to compete in?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So it's a hard one between the dragon and the lake one, but I'd have to probably say the water one, the lake. No, task number 2 would make me the most nervous because at least when you're flying around or around a dragon, and because I would have tried to do the same thing as Harry does, or at least I would have thought. I like to think I would have. You have all this area to run around.
Yeah.
In the lake, who knows what's underwater, man?
The Grindylow.
The Grindylows dragging you down, and then all the and just something that and also your charm only works for an hour.
Yeah.
And so you have that to deal with. So yeah, the task number 2 would freak me out.
If you kind of sway me against the dragon one, because you have all the air.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have arachnophobia, so we're going off the book version of the maze. The maze would have made me the most nervous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to deal with that. But let us know what you guys think. What task would have made you the most nervous? Please comment down below, like and subscribe. Next time, don't know when it's going to be, but we will be doing Order of the Phoenix next time. And I think Kristen will be joining us.
Kristen, my fiance, will hopefully be joining us. This is her favorite one out of all of them. So.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Peace.
Hey.